Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight we're going to be talking about what is the biggest news story of 2024. This video is going to come out on New Year's Eve, and we're going into 2025. What has been the biggest news story of 2024? I think I've narrowed it down. I've covered a bunch of these different stories in different ways. This one is crucial. It is the trip by Will Duffy and a whole group of flat earthers to Antarctica to watch the sun not set for 24 hours. This is amazing. Let's tune in.
My king's coming back, that's what I'm banking on. We eat and celebrate the grace of God with that filet mignon. I'm just saying we came a long way.
All right, so I had a whole list of different news stories, and I will list some of them here. They're not in any order. I was just going through, I was going to do like a year in review of 2024 and just say, these are all the crazy things that happened in 2024. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to focus in on this one story because I think it's the most important one. Definitely the top three. But you might remember some of these stories. Like this is one I had written down, the Miami Mall incident with the alien sighting. Remember that? Remember all those cop cars outside that mall, supposedly for teenage kids? That was insane. What about the woke Olympics? That was a little bit crazy, wasn't it? What about this one? This is probably top three as well. Joe Biden's mental decline being revealed, being exposed. We all knew it from the beginning. I knew it from this moment before the election, before he was even voted in 2020. Remember this?
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true and international effort to pressure. Mobilize true and international effort to pressure.
And there's so many more. We were gaslit for 4 years that, and especially at the end when it was so much more evident before the debate that Joe Biden was just in mental decline. We were gaslit and told that these were cheap fakes.
Strongly criticized the media for clips showing the president appearing to be confused, freezing at times, and you called it cheap fakes, misinformation, disinformation.
And look, independent mainstream fact checkers in the press and misinformation experts have been calling out cheap fakes. And at the end of the day, they're fakes. That's what they were, targeting the president. They had said.
Pushing back against recent video clips going viral that make President Biden look as though he's confused during public events and other appearances. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre blasted the use of the misleading videos, which are edited to make the president look bad and then circulated by right-wing media and allies. Take a look.
They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation. I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here.
Wow. That's all they've got.
The Republican accounts circulating many of the clips responded, claiming the videos are unedited and promised to keep posting them.
A lie.
And also just, if something is unedited, it's
really
one angle,
lies.
not showing the whole story.
How about this, Mia? They lie about their lies, which of course you would expect liars to lie about their lies.
Oh, I mean, we're talking.
They're only helping Joe Biden. They're only lowering expectations. They do it before every State of the Union address, and then afterwards, they're so freaked out that Biden did well, they say he must have been on cocaine. A sort of, 2024 version of, maybe an Eric Clapton song in the background, but they're doing the same thing for the debate. They lower expectations.
Yeah.
They say he's not cogent, and then he goes out and he does a really good job, and they're like, wait, what happened?
That he is sharper than ever. He's as sharp as a tack. Wow. That was 2024. The debate. That's when it revealed it publicly. It was exposed. There were such quips as this one.
Things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we had to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
What about the Ukraine-Russia war, which is continuing? And the whole realization of drone warfare and just how that's come into being as a real threat to society. That, of course, leads to the drones in New Jersey flying around and nobody being told what they're about for weeks and weeks and weeks. Probably another top story is the Trump assassination attempt #1. That was insane. Then there's the whole U.S. election with the GOP comeback and Trump winning. Then there's the VR enhancements. For example, the Apple Vision Pro and Meta's release of their glasses that are going to be coming out, and then Android VR coming out. Then there's the insane jump in AI technology, and this has gotten crazy. This is biblical end time stuff happening. What about the Lebanon pagers exploding? That was crazy. How about Transgender Day of Awareness being on Easter Sunday in the US? What? What about Kate Middleton missing? Remember that? She was missing, and then this photograph appeared with AI touch-ups on it, and people are going, what's going on? Turns out she has cancer. Everybody was right to be concerned about where she was. But we were all told, what are we talking about? She's totally fine. Then there was Diddy's house raided and the corruption of fame. So the whole Diddy, P. Diddy going down, P. diddling people. That's whole thing's happened. Kind of along the same lines, the Hawk Tuah girl rising to fame and then falling drastically after ripping people off or pumping and dumping her coin. What about Kamala Harris crowned? She's being crowned and then rejected with $1.2 billion spent on her campaign, and she suffers defeat and loss in the election in the U.S. What about Hurricane Milton and Helene? What about Trump working at McDonald's and then taking out the trash? What about him talking about eating the dogs and the cats? This all happened in 2024, folks. What about the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight? That was a huge event. What about the Daniel Penny acquittal? Daniel Penny supposedly choked a black man, and it was all a racial thing, said to be by the news. Turns out, no, he was trying to actually protect people on the subway, as many already knew. What about the lady, speaking of subways in New York, what about the lady that was set on fire and then the guy just watched her? This is insane. What is happening to our society? What about the astronauts that are trapped at the ISS, at the International Space Station? They're still there. I thought they came back. They're still there. What about Julian Assange being released from prison? That was big news. What about Notre Dame Cathedral being rebuilt and looking awesome? What about South Korea unrest and the lockdowns, the strange curfew and lockdowns that happened there? And there's just news even just in the last few days of more stuff going on there. What about Bitcoin hitting 100K US? Insane. I remember when it was $6 and I was mining it on my computer. Don't have any of it left to show for it. What about Hunter Biden being pardoned? Well, we all saw that coming, even though Joe Biden said he would never do it. These are all amazing stories of 2024, and there's a ton more that I've missed, and you can put them in the comments. But I think the top story, one of the top three, and probably one of the top stories that's going to stand for a long time, even though it's already being attempted debunking of it, is the whole story with Will Duffy and the final experiment. So Will Duffy, a pastor, took a group of globe earthers, people that believe the earth is a globe, and flat earthers, I think 4 flat earthers, 3 or 4 flat earthers, to Antarctica on a $35,000 trip. They went there and they observed Antarctica in the summer with a sun that doesn't set. This was called the final experiment, meant to prove that the earth is a globe, and it sure did. It didn't disappoint for the globe earthers. And here's actually their website. Here's the participants. So there was Jeranism, Jeran Campanella. This is on the Flat Earth team. There was Sean Griffin, Kingdom in Context, and Whitsitt Gets It, Austin Whitsitt. There was also a girl that was there. I'll show the interviews because this is a crazy story that I think is worth noting as one of the top stories or the top story of 2024, because flat earthers, whom I just don't get, I don't understand. A lot of them are Bible believing people or believe in God, and they believe the earth is flat. And the Bible does not say that anywhere. So I don't understand it. In fact, I'm going to be doing a series on it, explaining why the Bible talks about the globe earth and what the firmament means, because some of them base it off of that the earth is in a dome and it's just a flat dish looking thing. If you go to thefinalexperiment.com, you can see all of this information on there. You can see the interviews, you can see the live footage. What they did was they flew in and they actually did a tracking flight. So if we look at the page here, you can see there's the flat earth circle ring where they have Antarctica is actually an ice wall that goes around the whole outside of the earth and holds the water in. And then this is the traditional map of Antarctica from the global earth side. They did a map tracking of the expedition so that everybody could tune in live and see each of the participants flying in and track them as they flew from the various destinations right into Antarctica, where they landed at a little base that was set up for them. What the temperature was, the weather, all that type of stuff. And then it was live streamed using Starlink. It was live streamed so that everybody could watch it in real time and they could comment on the live stream and ask questions while they're there. And then they did interviews. They brought each of the individuals on, and the realization of what was happening was amazing. So here's some of the comments from the guys that were there. I'm just going to switch to one of the videos. You can tune in to this online. Here's Will Duffy explaining a little bit about what's happening.
Somebody paid me to do it. So I email Kaleb and I say, here's what I need. Here's what I'm hoping it looks like. And he just makes phenomenal thumbnails for us. So I just looked, and this is by far the largest live stream we've ever done, which is pretty incredible. Being in Antarctica, we're currently over 2,200 people are watching live, and the comments are kind of going crazy here. Let's see.
It was so bright there that they had to wear sunglasses all the time. And even when they take it off to try and look at the screen, they just said it was so bright. All of them said that, even the flat earthers.
Okay. Okay, Perk. They're going so fast I can't even see them. Perks FTW just talked about a green screen. Definitely not a green screen. Someone asks if we're doing a time lapse, and the answer is yes. So we are, I just counted. We have 10 cameras going right now, and the cameras are doing all kinds of things. So I want to promote real quick Candace Owens. So Candace Owens, when she found out about the final experiment, she was super excited. She had the same excitement that I did about just testing things and getting things done and utilizing the scientific method. And so she actually has talked about the final experiment, and she also sent her director, Mark Herman, who's here with us, who you'll hear from in a little bit.
So that's cool. Candace Owens was involved in this. So she's been an agnostic on whether the Earth is flat or round because she's skeptical on so many different things. So she sent her producer down on this expedition as well, and you're going to hear from him in a second here.
All the way to Antarctica to participate in this, and she's actually live streaming the sun in Antarctica right now. So if you want to, at any point in time over the next 24 hours, if you want to see the sun in Antarctica, head over to her channel on Rumble, and there is a live stream going there. So thank you so much, Candace, for doing this. So someone just asked if this was pre-recorded. Obviously, I can't interact with these comments if this was pre-recorded. So last but not least, Steve from England. Hey, not sure if you're watching. It'll be 3 a.m. for you right now, but you might catch this when you wake up. So Steve from England, I did an interview with him recently on our channel, and he was thinking that they've manipulated the time zones in Antarctica to make people think that the sun is out at midnight when it really isn't. And so he wanted us to do a live stream at midnight in Ushuaia time, which is a southern city in Argentina. So this is also midnight in Ushuaia right now, Steve. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. And oops. And there you go, everyone. It's there's the sun in all of its glory right there over the Ellsworth Mountains. So here we go. Keep in mind, you can see everybody's cameras out, but the sun is exactly where the globe predicted it would be. Not only is it midnight here, but you are actually looking due south. So the sun is still up, and it is to the south of us.
So I'm just going to skip to some of the various participants. The first one that I'm going to skip to is Candace's director coming on.
Otherwise, should I just pick somebody? All right, Mark. So we're going to start with Mark Herman, Candace Owens' director. Say hi to Mark.
I'm not going first just because I want to take a nap. Okay. I'm Mark Herman. I'm Candace Owens' director. I'm very, very thankful to be here. It still says I'm Will Duffy, but that's okay. Very thankful to be here. This is an incredible place, and these are all incredible people. Who would have thought that two groups of four people who are so opposed in belief and ideology to the point where there's ridicule and there's shame, there's all kinds of horrible things, but when they come together, especially in this environment, I've seen so much camaraderie and teamwork between people, and I think that's a huge thing that has really moved me, and I'm very thankful to be a part of it. And so, Will, thank you so much for this opportunity. Candace, thank you for letting me go here, and check out our live stream of the sun on Rumble, and I believe a member of each side will be on Candace's show in the coming weeks after this to discuss it. So
awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Will.
Cool.
So I'll just skip ahead to the next one. So this is Dave McKeegan. He is a globe earther. So we're going to go over to another flat earther here.
We're up to 3,600 watching live. Thanks everybody for staying up. So that's all the globers. So we'll now turn it over to the flat earthers. Who would like to go first? Lise? Jeran?
Listen to what he says.
So obviously you all know Jeran Campanella of Jeranism, one of the most popular flat earth YouTube channels.
Not for long. All right, guys.
Not for long, he said.
You are wrong in life. And I thought that there was no 24-hour sun. In fact, I was pretty sure of it. But I respect Will Duffy for being a stand-up guy at least in the way that he kept saying it was true. I kept saying it wasn't. He said, "You want to go? I'll take you," and brought me here. And it's a fact. The sun does circle you in the south. So what does that mean? You guys are gonna have to figure that out yourself. Don't listen to my beliefs or my opinion. It shouldn't matter to you, but at least you should be able to accept that the sun does exactly what these guys said as far as circles the southern continent. So that's about it. I realize that I'll be called a shill for just saying that. And you know what? If you're a shill for being honest, so be it. I honestly believe there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is. That's it. If you want to call me a shill, so be it. I'll live to see another day, and at least I know that I got to see it. And I just want to say thanks to Will through everything. You've been at least kind to me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the trip. If you guys want to, my whole master plan worked for getting a free trip out here and to, but no, it's amazing. I can't even tell you. Flying in was the best thing I've ever seen. So looking around, best thing I've ever seen. So, how could I give him a hard time for bringing me down here? $35,000 trip. It's been incredible. It will continue to be incredible. We've got some tracking mounts swinging around, seeing the sun. What does it mean? You have to figure it out. To me, it means that the AE map no longer works, but that doesn't mean that I'm right. It means that it could work. You'll have to figure out how, because I've tried and I struggle with it. The other thing is a 24-hour moon. If that happens, you got another thing we got to worry about. So it seems like the moon does circle here as well. So you start thinking about that as well. It doesn't mean that AE map is over, flat Earth is over. Maybe somebody's got the answer. I don't have that answer right now. So just want to say thanks again. Appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Yep.
So a couple things you'll notice that he said he called it the southern continent. That's a win. And admitted that the sun doesn't set. But he also said, you'll have to figure this out. So he's not committed that there's a globe Earth yet. But he acknowledges, yes, there's a 24-hour sun. He had previously said there can't be, and there is. So now his theory is not working for him. But that won't stop them. We'll get to some of the conspiracies at the end of how they're debunking or trying to debunk this final experiment. We'll just go through a bunch of Twitter posts that are coming up right now. So let's continue.
So Jeran has been so amazing to have with us. He is so fun in person. So I'm really glad we had the opportunity to be together on this trip. So, all right, who's up? Lise. All right, Lisbeth is up next. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Lise. It is really bright standing right here directly. But we're here in Antarctica. Like Will said, we are in an off-site camp of Union Glacier. They have been heavily accommodating, even from the point that we were in Punta Arenas. Shout out to all of our liaisons that were there, helping us out through everything, being able to answer questions. I am the only Spanish speaker on the trip, so it's been a pleasure actually being able to translate for everybody and having those lost in translation moments. And I think aside from just like the beautiful views, like this is absolutely breathtaking. Like it really is. There's nothing else like it. If there was ever any doubt, not that I ever have, but if there was any doubt about a creator, I mean, this would put it to rest. There's no way that we're not in a created place. I don't care what anybody says, say it in the comments. I won't read them anyway. But yeah, no, thanks to Will, obviously, as you guys know, I'm the golden ticket winner. It was a bumpy ride in the beginning, but he really pulled through. And in between all of this, I've been able to grow a beautiful friendship with Austin and with Jeran. And, even with the Globe side, like it's been awesome. Dave's been teaching me more about the optics and the camera, critical think's been really cool. Even Toon, and him and I, as you know, had some beef, but, we were able to put it to rest because I think what matters the most is putting our egos aside. I've seen a lot of vitriol, a lot of crashing out on both sides. And it's just like, are we here for truth or are we here to hold on to a narrative and to ego? Now, with all that being said, that's not saying like a 24-hour sun proves a globe model. There's still definitely things that, you know, are in question, like the lack of sphericity of the earth and so many other things. But hey, we're here, we're working together. And I think the most important part is just this human experience all together. So I give a big shout out to just like everybody here. The guys have been super awesome. And yeah, shout out to AL Lee, and, you know, shout out to God's creation for allowing us to be here and experience this. Love you all.
And with that, I'll turn it over to Austin Whitsitt, who you all know runs the channel Whitsitt Gets It.
What's up? So I'm actually, they're holding guns on the other side of this camera. This is all a stage. No, yeah, so I mean, I was one of the people that said I definitely didn't think that there was a 24-hour sun. We obviously haven't actually seen the sun for 24 hours, but it is doing what they said it would do very clearly. And it is still dancing around high in the sky. So obviously we're documenting it. But yeah, you know, I said what I feel about this the whole time. Truth doesn't fear investigation. I think that we're truly trying to figure out the truth. Obviously, some people think that what we were told is the truth. I don't think that, but I do think that people need to be honest and humble and be like, whoa, you know, we were wrong. If something doesn't just pop out of the blue and all of a sudden the sun sets or something, when we claim that there was no sun or 24-hour sun. So yeah, and I know a lot of people want to know what my take is in terms of how does it work and stuff. And I will, like a quick teaser, I've seen a physical demonstration that could show this working, but I do think that some of the data we're going to have from this trip may help to clarify if that is actually what's happening. But anyway, long story short, they kind of covered the trip. It's like incredible and beautiful. And when you fly into here, it's just like words can't even describe it, man. It is crazy, crazy beautiful. Obviously this, you know, for people to say that we can't go here and all these people are working here, we obviously never actually claimed that people couldn't go here. We just say you can't freely and privately explore it. But I will say this, when we flow over it, I'd be like, you probably don't want to really do that, you know? So it looks extremely dangerous. It's beautiful, but scary at the same time. And so, you know, they say, look, if you want to go somewhere, we got to survey it and make sure you're not going to fall in and die. And I get it. So yeah, obviously we did know you could go to approved places, but more so the point of this trip is to see if there's a 24-hour sun. There clearly is. I won't go on like a big rant about what I think that means. I don't think it falsifies plain earth. I don't think it proves a globe. I think it's a singular data point.
So I'll stop it there. Despite having 10 plus cameras, like he was saying, and all the cameras, watching cameras to prove that they were actually there, having the trackers and everything, that doesn't stop the trolls and the comments and trying to debunk this as actually happening. And so I'm going to just go over to Twitter. By the way, you can follow this, all of this story if you go to the-final-experiment.com. You can see all about this trip and some of the footage and everything like that, the interviews, etc. But if you also go over to the Final Experiment, if you go over to X, to the Final Experiment, at TFE Antarctica is the handle for the X account. You will see all of the episodes in here, part 1 to 15. And then, yeah, so he's got each of the episodes in here. And then what I wanted to show you was the responses. So if I do a search for the Flat Earth Experiment, and I think I've got it, or the Final Experiment, spell this correctly, you will see that they are trying to debunk it as a fraud, trying to show, hey, look at this. Look at the angles of these shadows. This can't be real. The sun's up here. Why is it going off this way here, appearing to go sideways here? They don't realize that this is actually in front of the building. I don't get it. I don't get their attempts at debunking. Then appearing to go straight this way here and this way. They don't get perspective. They don't understand perspective. The sun is way back there. When you're looking at shadows, they come at you and they're straight. If you could go up above that and look down, you would see that they're in a straight line. So it's just like when you look in the distance, it's perspective, right? That's how the perspective is. Anyways, they don't say that. And then they also do this thing where they look at what it should look like when you step on snow. There should be footprints. Of course, that's true. Okay, here's actual footage of what they caught with the time lapse.
Thank you for giving so much time and energy and money to Flat Earth and helping us grow.
So they're trying to use this to debunk it, to say this is actually a studio, a 360-degree studio with LED screens all the way around, and they were using green screens because he actually did have his green screen on to show his lower third banner on his laptop. And so anything that matched the chroma key was actually showing through, and you could see his background on his computer screen with the TME or TFE logo in the background. You just caught that in certain parts. You could see it through based on the chroma key. So they were like, oh, see, he's using a green screen. So they're trying to say that this is a studio, but this is what they saw. This is the sun circling Antarctica 24/7, not setting. So perfect. Now, so the debunkings, I'll see if I can find that one of the snow. Turn this up a little bit.
But you don't see an impression after he moves his foot. Let me slow it down a bit too.
So they're trying to show, look.
There's no markings right here. His feet were just right there. So I did take a look at this, and it is kind of strange how there's not any sort of impression left.
So this was a 360-degree camera that you could move around and look, and you can actually change the angle of it with the recording that it's on. They don't realize that that is plowed ice. It's not snow. And come to Canada in the winter. Come to the prairies in the winter. That's where I used to live. When the loose ice, it's really like sand, but it's very light and it's ice that falls on top. When that's scraped off and it's just left, and you can see the grooves from the plow that went through there, it is solid ice. It does not, and your boots are as cold as it. So the warmth of your foot does not melt it unless you were, even if you were standing there for a long time, unless that's a really bad boot, your body temperature does not melt the ice under your feet. Your actual boot itself is as cold as that ice, and it's solid. It's not going to leave a footprint. The other footprints that you see there are from when it was softer snow, because it is. I mean, when it first falls, it's soft. Funny story is when we lived in Saskatchewan, the very first winter we experienced there, I think it was the first winter. It might have been the second one, but it was one that was really bad, where we got snowdrifts piling up outside of the trailer that we lived in. This huge snowdrift piled up outside. I had my camcorder. In the morning, I was like, honey, take the camcorder. I am going to jump into this snowdrift. And I turned my back, and then I leapt backwards into the snowdrift. What I thought, because I'm from BC originally, where we have big, fluffy, wet, soft snow, I thought I would just poof into the snow. It was concrete. It had just piled up overnight. It was already solid ice on top. So when I landed on it, I was like, oof. Wind knocked out of me. I'm like, boom. I didn't go into the snow at all. I don't even think I left an imprint. I was just like, boom, on the top of the snow. And so I was like, oh. So that's what it's like there. When it's that cold, that's what it's like. So they don't realize that. There's another flat earther who talks about the green screen and just says, guys, This was not a green screen being used in the background. This was actually his computer having chroma key turned on, probably for the titles, and he didn't realize it, but it was bleeding through on some of the colors on his jacket from time to time, and it would show through the logo or anything that had that chroma color. So this is just how it is. People are saying, did you fall for the final experiment? Here he is talking about green screen. So he's saying, see, you see what happens? He's got green cloth there. When he holds it up, it looks like you can see through it, but that's what was happening. But this was another guy that was walking around, talking on the phone, saying you guys were wrong, but they're mocking him because of the way the shadows moved on the snow, but they don't realize that the snow is dipping in parts, so the shadow stretches when it's dipping into the dip, and he's stepping kind of over a little lip on the snow, and it makes the shadow look longer and shorter. And so they're trying to find ways to debunk this as much as they can, but they just can't do it. They think they have, but they haven't. So I imagine there's going to be a bunch more of this because they have to cope with the fact that they are wrong on their theory. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to try and explain it away somehow. They will. So I'm going to have a short story or a series on the globe Earth from the biblical perspective, and based on hydroplate theory, actually, how the firmament mentioned in Genesis is used in two different ways. So it talks about the heavens as being part of the firmament, but it also talks about the earth being the firmament, terra firma, and the waters below the earth and the waters above. I think this is the biggest story of 2024. The Flurfs being dumbfounded by the truth. And thank goodness for Will Duffy being able to take a whole bunch of them there just to say, let's go and look together. And let's discover this together. And they did. They went there. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. I want to see more stuff like that happen, instead of just people being keyboard warriors online, shouting each other down with conspiracy theories and not going after the truth honestly. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Tell your friends. Hit that notification bell if you want to find out more. Remember, if you have a prayer request, put prayer request or prayer : and then whatever your request is in the comments below this, and I will pray for you. If you don't want it to be public, don't put it there. There's other people here as well that will pray, that watch this channel. So if you don't mind it being public, go ahead and post it there, and we will pray for you. Thank you. Bless you. Have a great rest of your year, and welcome to the new year. Bye for now.
I was about yay high when Yahweh told me to run it. Only a matter of time before my mob need a hit and 100. I swore a sign, he told me to pay more attention, he already done it.